no matter where you are in the world, you got to like work at this thing. You got to like.
You're not just sitting there with your AirPods in, laying on the beach, like, yeah, Miss Betty, you're gonna like this fire expense, man. You know,
right? I wish it was that easy, but as all things in life, it isn't quite the case. It's work.
welcome back. Another episode of CA Power Players Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. I'm hanging out with the one, the only, man, the dude, one of the top trainers in the space. We love hanging out. Welcome back, Springfield, to the podcast, to the channel.
Greetings, salutations.
David Duford.
How you doing?
Good, man. Appreciate you being here. Welcome back, bro.
It's been a while.
Yeah, man. That's right. That's right, dude. That's right. Yeah, we're getting together a few months now. You know?
That's right.
So today is a big topic, man. This is a good title.
Yes.
I'm excited about this because we get this question a lot, you know. Telesales versus face-to-face.
Yes.
And what every agent needs to hear. Okay, so we're going to kind of break down that topic. I want to hear a lot of feedback from Dave on, okay, a lot of people are like, dude, telesales only. A lot of people are like, there's entire IMOs that are like, no, we will never do telesales. We're face-to-face only.
Right.
And I don't think, dude, if you succeed and you make money, that's a win.
Correct. Yes.
You know, but there are pros and cons to both. Different personality styles, different people, maybe a face for radio, whatever, you know, I don't know.
Right.
What do you think of this, man? Telesales face-to-face.
I think the first thing to say is that face-to-face still works. All right. This is probably something I hear a lot of pushback, like, oh, going up to people's houses and knocking on their door in 2023.
They act like it's like, yeah, they act like it's like, what?
Yeah, we're human beings. You know, we like talking to some people sometimes, you know? So
totally.
The thing is, and if anything, face-to-face is more effective.
Yeah.
Because, as we'll talk about, the big trend has been in the telesales direction.
Correct.
And sometimes you got to zag when everybody zigs, right? So I think that has to be said first and foremost. Like, if you're thinking about getting into this business or you're just starting and you're kind of wondering, like, where to go, don't discount face-to-face. There are some definite advantages selling face-to-face that you don't get over the phone. For example, your prospect sees you, and seeing is believing, right? The more personal the interaction with the prospect, the more likely they're going to trust and like you.
Yep.
It's when you start having layers removed that the trust issue becomes more prevalent. When it's just a voice. Doesn't mean you can't sell them, just saying. The trust, it becomes more of an issue. So with face-to-face sales, you still have that as a part of your shtick.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about the trust issue nearly as much. And that means things like getting social security numbers, bank account information, asking the tougher questions tends to be easier in person. And the conversion levels are higher.
Yeah.
And again, less people are doing it now than they have. So it's more of an opportunity.
It's almost making it more unique, you know? And yes, like, I mean, so here's a random thought. If you had to go sell 10 grand next week, or you had to leave the industry forever, hypothetically,
right?
What would you personally do?
I do. If it depends on the lead. I'd say put the other variable in there.
Good question.
If you gave me direct mail leads, I'd go door knock.
Yeah,
right?
I probably would too. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, if I had inbound TV leads or something that was really good quality lead, I'd do it over the phone. Yep. But either way, if I was really just working the odds in my favor, then I would go see them. I'd get in front of them. I'm probably going to see them more often than trying to call them because a lot of people don't pick up the phones anymore.
Yep.
That's another issue that is more prevalent now.
That's
different
true.
times of the year, like Medicare season, it's really hard.
Yep. I mean, that's a good example. Like on my phone, it'll say potential spam.
Yes.
Spam likely.
Yes.
I don't know, whatever else. I also have I don't know if you have this on your phone set up. I mean, everybody's got it unless you've got, maybe it's not an Android thing. I don't know, but iPhone. Under cellular, I've got it clicked where it won't, if I don't know the number,
right,
it goes to voicemail.
Right.
And it never rings my phone.
Yep.
Yeah. So people probably love that.
And more people are setting that up, so it's more and more of an obstacle.
Yep.
Right. But when you knock on a door, very few people get people knocking on their doors. It's almost compared to the telemarketing calls. They get way more of that.
Oh my gosh.
Than the door knocks.
I can't think of the last time somebody door knocked. Now I'm living in a gated subdivision, so it happens less. But I can't, like, because My first year, I door knocked a ton. Even selling final expense, I door knocked a ton. Mm-hmm. If I took out a new agent, we would just, grab a bunch of agent leads and go door knock for a couple days, and just show them the ropes. But man, I can't think of the last time that's happened. So you're right. It's almost, it's still unique,
Yeah. Well,
it's
when
cool.
I get door knocked probably less than 5 times a year where I live.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm a sales nerd. I love it. It's like, I get to hear this guy's pitch.
It's either like a vacuum or like religion, right? I mean, fair.
Pest control.
There you go.
Some kid working the summer circuit of pest control or
maybe solar, maybe not.
Security.
Security.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know, is it Vivint or something?
Yeah,
like
they
that?
came to my door this year.
Yeah.
That, so, but it's fun. I mean, and again, I know we live in a technological age and people like to text and call and not see people, but some people like people still and like talking to strangers.
Believe it or not.
It's not all of a bunch of people who are locked up in their house afraid of their own shadows, you know, and you just hear about all the negative stuff all the time that you don't see the vast majority of the positive circumstances. I mean, when I've probably door knocked more than 3,000 doors in my career, selling final expense. I can think of like 2 negative ones off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just neutral, like no bad or good either way, or good.
Yeah, they're randomly like telling you to go F yourself and like slam the door in your face. Like that's pretty rare.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's hard to be a jerk when you're in person with somebody.
True.
It's easy to do that over the phone when you don't see them. It's the phone process, and I don't want to sound like I'm against phone. We're going to talk about why it's good.
Totally. There's a lot of people. Yeah, we're not saying stop selling teleselling.
I was thinking before coming to this podcast that we're filming here, I was thinking like a principle of communication. The more personal it is, the more likely people are going to treat you with respect. Mm-hmm. But when you start taking away the layers of it, that's when people are going to be jerks. The emails you're talking about. Like people say all sorts of things they'll never say in person.
Correct.
And with in-person sales, people are how they should be more often than not.
Yes.
Respectful, to the point, and it's very rare to find somebody who's like a psycho.
Yes, totally. And we're both pro both, by the way. Like there's a lot of people that are like, think one's dead or one's stupid or whatever. Like,
no.
Dude, you make money, help your family, put yourself in a better financial situation, and help clients. Dude, I don't care how you do it.
Yeah, same here. The key is what works best for you.
Yeah.
And that's what every person listening to this needs to figure out as soon as possible. Some people are better equipped face-to-face, and some people are better equipped over the phone.
Yeah.
And I say play to your strengths.
Completely, yeah. So who do you think's more of a fit, maybe one way or the other, if you had to like think through some of that?
So what I'm about to say is not meant to be negative. It's just realistic, and everybody out there watching this has to make their own mind up if they fit what I'm about to describe. I believe after training agents for years now doing telesales, you have to have presence on the phone. Mm-hmm. You have to imagine as a telesales agent, you're an actor on stage, and you need to think about the actor on a stage in a theater. They have to display and show the emotion of their part, not just to the front row seat, but to the nosebleed section in the back of the theater.
Yes.
And you have to present in that way to where when you're talking to somebody over the phone, you're not just reading a script, you're performing the script. And that means the tonality, the pacing. Sometimes you talk quietly to get a point across, right? Yep. Back and forth. Some people are really good at that. And some people, they're terrible at it. They're just not good at it. Yeah. But they would be great face-to-face because you need less of that.
Yes.
But over the phone, I'm convinced that there are good agents out there who may be swept away with this whole idea that telesales is for everybody, that miss a better opportunity just going face-to-face because they really don't have that developed yet, that type of presence on the phone, which I think it can be trained, but it's a skill set that takes time to train.
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it's, and you kind of, if you're being honest with yourself, like, self-awareness is important. Maybe you're just better one way or the other. Like there's certain personalities that are just phenomenal with people.
Right.
And they're like the life of the party, and they're good with people in person and people like being around them. They're a magnet for like talent. You know, if that's the case, like just put yourself in scenarios for you to win at the highest level, whatever that is, you know? Yeah, which is cool. What about like, why shouldn't someone do one or the other maybe, you know? Like if you're like, okay, you shouldn't do face-to-face or you shouldn't do telesales or...
So I've talked to many women.
Or you shouldn't do either.
I've talked to... There are those that shouldn't do either.
There is.
I've talked to many women who have expressed personal safety concerns going out into people's homes.
Yep.
If you are of that persuasion, then telesales might be for you.
Sure.
That eliminates that whole risk entirely and makes the business palatable.
Yes. So as an example, has there ever been a time where you felt uncomfortable in a home?
Oh, yeah.
And Dave was up at 6 a.m. this morning doing jujitsu. You know, like the dude can defend himself. He's security while he's here at CA headquarters, okay? Because none of us know anything, okay? However, you know, if you don't feel comfortable with strange people, if you're a female agent, strange men, right? If you're a male agent, strange women, you know, whatever, right? I mean, it's an interesting industry.
It sure is.
Especially when you get like final expense as an example, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Medicare, you know, I mean, I've got so many just homes and examples to where now they're like, well, wait, I thought you were pro face. Now you're like pro telesales all of a sudden.
I know.
No,
right.
We want to give you both.
We're pro success, Cody.
That's it, man.
That's what it's about.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. That's solid.
So that's a big thing. Another thing is if you're in a position where you don't want to drive all over the place, it's definitely it's a part of the business face to face.
Yeah. Maybe you live in a town with 2,000.
Yeah.
And the nearest big city is 3 hours away.
Sure. Correct.
You should do telesales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, or you do trips. I know a lot of people that sell mortgage protection and their favorite, you know, place is to fly to this certain county in Washington, you know, whatever, right?
Right.
You can do that.
Sure.
It's not my style.
Or if you don't want to do that and you want to be home because you've got other obligations, that's an option too.
100%.
I will add this in too. For the New York agents, I believe face-to-face is not an option. This is a minority of you out there. There's whatever the reason is, there's not a lot of options for life insurance. You can sell there, but there's a lot of restrictions on compensation.
Yep.
At least in final expense, what I'm involved with, I usually tell my New York agents, please sell outside of the state.
Correct. That's telesales for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Now that's, it's almost like, it's weird with New York because it's almost like they're more like a protective of like the old captive life insurance companies, right?
I never really understood it. They require, I believe, the insurance companies to domicile an office in the state in order to represent that company in the state of New York. And they also cap compensation very, very low. And it just doesn't pay recruiters with the cost of doing business included to go that
less
route.
Spread, less margin.
But if you're a New York agent, but you sell in Connecticut or you sell in any other state, you tap into the normal commission levels, the variety of carriers that are available. Cool. So it becomes a palatable business. So telesales just makes more sense in that case.
Yeah. I wonder if that's even more like an opportunity for someone that's like recruits life insurance agents. Most are like, New York.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. You know? Yeah.
That's right.
What about the realities of working remotely at home?
Yeah. So
it's a big one now.
Yeah. Everybody has this idea. And there was a content creator who's very good, but he was talking about, you know, closing deals on the beach, sitting in my, you know, swimsuit, enjoying the Bahamas or whatever.
Drinking
and I'm
a Mai
like,
Tai.
Yeah, just, you know, living the dream, right? And it sounds good on paper, but in reality, like, no matter where you are in the world, and you can do that theoretically, no matter where you are in the world, you got to like work at this thing. You got to like.
You're not just sitting there with your AirPods in, laying on the beach, like. Yeah, Miss Betty, you're gonna like this for expense, man. You know,
right? I wish it was that easy, but as all things in life, it isn't quite the case. It's work. You've got to segment your personal life from business. So, for example, I've run and this is a similar example to selling insurance, but very relevant. I've run my office out of my office in my house. Okay, I don't have a separate office or staff.
Yep.
Everybody's remote at this point. But I got 4 kids and a wife, okay? And so sometimes my kids jump in my room when the doors are closed, curtains are closed, and ask me about something that's, at the time not important, right? That there's distractions that you're going to experience working from home. Mm-hmm. My advice is pick a part of your house that you can level off to get away from everybody so you can focus on your work. And make sure that your family respects the boundaries, that when dad or mom or husband or wife is in the office and the doors are closed, they are not to be bothered, okay?
Most don't, by the way.
No, they don't. And they
like,
wonder
why.
What? Yeah.
You're at home. You go pick up the kids today. You're at home. You do the cooking.
Right.
You're at home. It's
You're at home.
We've got team members that, because we're just nice, flexible company, that they just take it. Their spouse takes advantage of it,
Yeah.
Or like, well, she's an attorney and he's insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden attorney's just better, or like, or they're just not as nice, or they're not as flexible,
Right.
or like, well, he can do whatever he wants, Well, yeah, but he's also got to make some money.
Right. Yeah. And that's a difficult reality that you have to face, I think, as a remote or telesales agent of any kind.
Yeah.
Some things I've seen that have been successful. I have one agent that has like what they call a she shed, like out back, like they built, and it's the office. It's away physically from the house.
That's a cool idea.
And it's just it's like, think of an office. It's just detached and separated. Works wonderfully.
Yep.
I've got another agent that she does like a, what is it,
Yeah, I was just thinking about like a shared workspace.
Shared workspace, yeah.
Used to be like WeWork did it.
Yeah,
a lot of places now.
That's what she does. She loves it. And she was struggling at home, and she lives by herself and her 2 dogs, but she gets into the things she needs to do, her non-work tasks.
Laundry, Netflix.
That's exactly what she said, actually.
Making soup.
And so she's like, okay, I'm going to the shared work site. And she wrote like $8,000 in a week when she first did that,
Let's
in
go.
final expense business. So
well, that's worth it.
Yeah. So again, it's being self-aware, like you had said earlier, of the realities, and then imposing discipline. And that's the hard thing with any kind of, really any sales business, is like, especially insurance. Very, very rarely do you have somebody who is going to breathe down your back to tell you to go to work, to tell you to show up, to tell you to do these things we talked about. You've got to have the discipline to set yourself aside and make sure what is important gets done.
Yeah, true. I love this, man. Any other thoughts on telesales versus face-to-face?
Yeah, a couple other things I think are important. Which makes more money is a question I get asked about. Does telesales make more money or face-to-face make more money? I don't see one as being better financially than another.
Yeah. Some think there's more opportunity in telesales because of the amount of people you can reach and the amount of people you can talk to.
Correct. Right.
But your closing rate's normally lower, so maybe it does balance out,
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. I at the end of the day, if you're really dedicated to either system, I think the opportunity is excellent and awesome. 100%. I don't think there's one that's going to be like so far above the other that it's so much more financially obvious to do one strategy over another, because it comes back to, again, like we talked about, are you really a good fit for face-to-face, or are you really good fit for telesales?
Yeah.
And figuring that out is what gives you the best options. But if you're, I do say this too, if you don't know where you stand on the remote versus face-to-face, remote telesales interchangeable, of course. Mm-hmm. I tend to tell agents, go the face-to-face route and look at remote later. And the reason why is this. I think my experience internally, and this is what I've seen with other agencies, the success rate is higher for face-to-face agents. It's not so much so with telesales. It's just more difficult. There's more rejection. There's more objections. Mm-hmm. And if you're not well equipped, plus have the presence on the phone, you're going to get a lot more adversity than what you would see face to face. So if you're just not fully bought into telesales, just do face to face, and then look at telesales later.
100%, dude. Phenomenal info.
Thank you.
Anything else we didn't share yet? And there's a lot, man, but this was good.
Make your decision and go all in. Put blinders on.
Well, I love it, man. Let's do it. I remember you saying that
I did say that a while back, didn't I?
That's right, man. Appreciate you doing that. Yeah. If they want to learn more about David Duford, what do they do?
So we do support the final expense face-to-face and telesales agent, as well as Medicare face-to-face and telesales. We are all in on training, support, one-on-one mentorship, really doing role play, script development, etc. If you want to learn more about how to apply to become an agent with Duford Insurance Group, go to davidduford.com.
Boom. I love it. Thank you for being on the podcast once again.
See you.
Thank you all for listening. See you next time.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're gonna love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
If you've been grinding and hustling out there in the street, writing all these policies, and you're trying to build residual income, and you built your income up to be $3,000 a month coming in, residual, before you get it by the bid.